going to start there. And then we're going to backtrack a little bit. Just to show you that the people off the slave boats are people in this land today and also scattered across everywhere.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Okay, now you gotta understand something. You think Egypt is talking about this great people or whatever, or this great land or whatever. No, it's talking about slavery, because at the end of the verse it's talking about you be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. You look at that word up, it is slaves. Now, also when you talk about Egypt, if we already over there, we wouldn't need ships to go back to Egypt, right? No, we wouldn't. It's talking about slavery. Now, on ships, we're the only people that been on ships. Now, go up to verse 48. Go to verse 48, because I'm going to show you something real quick. We them people that's off them slave boats, and we the people that suffering them curses. And the reason why we suffering them curses is because of disobedience.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Now, that's literal, and it's spiritual. You gotta understand, we serve our enemies in hunger, thirst, nakedness, and want of all things. Now, who you gotta go to when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, when you need clothing, and one of all things? When you need a job to provide for your family, to get all those things that you need, who you gotta go to? Not your friend. Yeah, but those are your enemies.
The jobs?
The people you have to go to get those things. You're not going to your people.
Why they are enemies?
Because they white.
Because they white. I mean,
That's it right there.
Okay. Well, check this out. Would you consider these people who captured your ancestors, put them to death, beat them halfway to death? Would you consider those your friends, or would you consider them your enemies?
The ones that was beating and stuff?
The ones, would you consider the people that did this to your ancestors? Would you consider them your friends, or would you consider them your
They
enemies?
were enemies.
They're your enemies, right? So this is what the Bible is talking about. So when he went to Deuteronomy 28, he was talking about primarily the transatlantic slave trade. That's what he was talking about. And what would happen to us, that he read to you already is called the curses, or the punishments that would come upon us, and the signs that would come upon us, meaning the only way we would know who we are is through these different signs. Right? Through these different signs. The different signs is the transatlantic slave trade, that's the big one. And our enemies and how they would abuse us, and how we would need them and want of everything in clothes and water. That's why he said if you go to somebody for a job, is that going to your enemies. Primarily, it is the so-called white man that owns whatever place that you're going to seek employment from, right? So you have to go to your enemy, which was his ancestor, enslaved your ancestor. So that makes him your enemy. You understand now?
Now, let's go to verse 32 real quick, just to show you some of the punishment and curses that we suffer.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Thy son and thy daughter shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand.
Now, you don't understand, in slavery, they were breeding plantations, right? Just so they can take the babies and give them to another people. Now, today, we have something called, what you call that today, where Child Protective Services, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Somebody just called like, they can come take your child without anything, just a phone call. It's the punishment or something. You don't have no might in your hands to go get them children back. Now I'm gonna show you another part of the curses that we suffer. Go to verse 4. this is very important. Verse 54 is very important.
Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall lead.
You gotta understand, that's hatred from within. They got us hating ourselves. Our brothers hating each other. Our brothers hating their wives. They women which should be their wives. And they hating their children, which they leave. It's a lot of baby mama and baby daddy in our people, right? Now, go to verse 22 real quick. This is just to show you. We the ones that's killing each other and dying. So, another part of the curse is
This book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. The Most High shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with a spring burning, and with the sword, and with blasters, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
you gotta understand something. You get shot, you get infected. People say the bullets is hot, right? The bullets is hot. But the sword back then, compared to the sword back now, he said blast. So you gotta understand this is prophecy. This is prophecy. You the ones killing each other. You the ones getting gunned down. Killing each other, and we let them people kill us. This is just to show you who these people are today. The people that's at the bottom is the ones that's killing us. Go to Jeremiah 17:4 real quick. Jeremiah 17.
What's up? Ouch.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy inheritance that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
You gotta understand, because our disobedience, we at the bottom, serving our enemies. Because we did not want to follow his laws and commandments, which he commanded us, which is to fear him. And how you serve him is keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. And taking care of your people, that's a big commandment. That's in Matthew 22, verses 37 through 40.
What she got to do to change it, huh?
She got to come back to, go to Deuteronomy 10, verse 12 real quick. Verse 12. Because he said, because this is our requirement. This is our requirement from the Most High. Deuteronomy 10, verse 12 real quick.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now Israel, what does the Most High thy power require of thee? But to fear the Most High thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him.
How do you love him? You don't.
And to serve the Most High thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep his commandments, to keep the commandments of the Most High and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good.
For your good. For your good.
It ain't that one.
Now, you got to understand something. Yeah, go ahead. Nah, he said to fear him. How you love him? Go to John 14 and 15. Oh, you going to 1 John 5 and 3? Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
How you reciprocate that love? That's John 14 and 15. As simple as that. It's just simple and plain.
Book of John chapter 14, verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments.
It's that simple. You love the Most High, like a lot of us claim we do love the Most High, keep his commandments. There's a lot of people who hypocrite out here that say they love him, but they don't keep his commandments. Now, go ahead and go to 1 John 2 and 4. Because the people that say they know him and they love him, but they don't keep his commandments, he called them liars. So you can't say you love him if you don't keep his commandments.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Right. Now go to we're going to close this out. Go to Acts 17 and 30. Because a lot of us is in ignorance and don't know. But since you know what's required of you, he called all of us to repent, all his people to repent.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 30. And the time of this ignorance, the Most High winked at, but now commanded all men everywhere to repent.
Repent and just change. That's all it means.
Like when somebody ain't ready to repent yet because they feel like they ain't about to change them. I thought they supposed to repent when they know they were ready.
Yeah, go to the no more sacrifices.
What was the question?
If someone ain't ready to repent yet.
What if somebody not ready to
Yeah,
repent
yeah,
yet?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin.
Go to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 14.
Ecclesiastes. Okay.
Yeah, verse 12 and 14. She already know verse 13. Go to verse 14. Then, matter of fact, after that, go to Psalms 5 and 5. You can go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 6. I'm gonna show you what Most High think of all this bullshit. This is, I apologize.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 14. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
You gotta understand, our work is keeping the commandments. Because if you keeping the commandments while observing, that means your hands and feet are moving. You feel what I'm saying? Go to Psalms 5 and 5, because a lot of people be thinking, oh, he loves me even though I sin. No, he don't. He hate the sin and the sinner that's attached to it. And we're going to prove that to in his word. This is out of his mouth what he said. Not what we say. So if you have a problem, you got to take that up with him. But I don't think people think they want that smoke, but they don't want it. Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 5, verse 5. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
Iniquity means sin or abomination. He hates that.
Hello,
You gotta understand that. Now look at this. Now all workers of iniquity, that means what you work. That means you're not doing the good works, which is following the commandments, but you are sinning. You love that sin. You laying in it. You comfort in it. You gotta comfort it because you comfort in it.
That even your prayers an abomination.
Your prayers are abomination. We're gonna go to that one too. Go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 6 just to show her, like, you willfully sin, he gonna keep you around just for that day of judgment.
If you're not ready to repent, then the Most High won't even hear your prayers.
But what if okay, Lord, hold on real quick. Okay, what if somebody, they've been sinning, everybody's sinning for real. You feel me? So what if somebody's sinning, and they know they've been sinning, but they ain't done sinning, but they know when they're gonna be done sinning, they ready to repent. What about that?
They know they're gonna be done.
Yeah. Because some people be knowing. Some people be knowing when they about to be, when they done sinning. And they
right here.
You said you're going to get an opportunity
Let me ask you a question.
another day.
What's sin?
Well, shit, doing shit you're supposed to be doing for real.
That's not sin.
I mean, I ain't worried about the laws. I don't give a fuck about the laws.
That's
shit
not
wrong
sin,
and all
though.
that. You feel
That's
me?
not sin.
Like what God, basically what God don't want you to do.
What God don't want you to do?
People say, like y'all just first thing y'all said about me, smoking weed and shit. You feel me? I really don't
So
feel like
you
that's
say sin is doing things that God don't want you to do?
Yeah.
All right, let's see specifically what the
Because don't he
Bible.
want you to live a certain way?
Yeah, he does want you to live a certain way. So let's see specifically what sin is. Specific. You want to be very specific on what it is. Are you going to the scripture?
I can get first time.
Hey.
This is the book of 1 John,
There we go.
chapter 3, verse 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
You read it again?
Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law.
Whosoever committeth a sin transgress the law. The law, so if you break the law, then you commit sin. So if you don't know what sin, give me Romans 7 and 7. Romans 7 and 7.
Now when we say the law, we ain't talking about law.
Man's law, we talking about the Most High's law.
That's fine. Okay, so this is Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Most High forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law.
The only way you know what sin is if you know the law. So if you don't know the law, then you don't know what sin is. Read it again.
What shall we say then?
What can we say then? Come on.
Is the law sin?
Is the law sin?
Most High forbid.
Most High forbid, meaning no. God forbid, no. Come on.
Nay, I had not known sin
I would have not known sin, come on,
but by the law.
but unless I knew what the law was. So if you don't know the law, then you don't know what sin is. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Because if you don't know what sin is, you don't know if you're breaking the law. And if you break the law, then you have no right to the tree of life. That's why we out here. That's why we out here. You got a
I
precept?
got 3.
All right, come on. Come on with it.
Okay, this is Proverbs chapter 28, verse 9. He that turneth his ear away from hearing the law,
Come on.
even his prayer shall be an abomination.
Even his prayer should be abomination. So if you turn away from hearing the law, you can't say, God, please save me. Oh, God, help me. God, help my mother. He's not going to hear you. God, help my children. He's not going to hear you. Because your prayer is an abomination to him because you rejected his law, so he rejects your prayer.
You want me to get the Iraq real quick?
Yeah.
This is another precept to understand. This is in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 6. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. Keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. Judgment.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 10. But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imagination, which have neglected the righteousness and forsaken the Most High. For whoso despises wisdom and nurture, he is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Their wives are foolish, and their children wicked. Their offspring is cursed.
So what we saying to you, sister, is come on back to this truth. It's time for you to come home. That's all. Come on back to this truth. This is for you. You the greatest person on the planet. You. The greatest woman on the planet. Every woman on the planet want to look like you. They all want to look like God. Why you think they get shots in their hips and shots in their lips? Going and getting all kind of surgery just to look like you. The greatest woman on the planet is the Israelite woman. That's you. And most of our women are trying to look like everybody else. So come on back home to this truth, sister. Repent and keep the commandments of the Most High. That's why we out here. Repent and keep His commandments. It's better on this side.
I got one.
Say she ain't ready.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 13. Happy is the man that finds wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. 31.
Yeah, this is 3 and 31.
And this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Where he was talking about most of our women want to look like, get stuff like the other nation. Envy not thy oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Got any questions?
No, I asked all my questions.
This is actually complete. Everything that we talked about is in there. This is started to be like who you are, how we messed up, how we can get that right. It's that simple. It's that simple.
What's your name, sis?
Adrian.
Adrian?
Adrian.
Adrian?
Yeah.
All right. It's good to meet you, Adrian.
Nice to meet y'all too. Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Y'all schooled me a little bit.
Come on back home to this truth.